We're going to start from the things I think are perhaps often talked about, but probably won't help, and the reasons why they won't help. And then we'll go down the chain to the more, let's say, serious things to work on to overcome a pornography addiction. So the first one I want to go through and talk about is the cold turkey approach. Now, this approach has been talked about a lot. I would say the older generation had a very, come on mate, let's just go cold turkey and get over it. This just fundamentally doesn't work for majority of people. And the reason is because our minds are webs of beliefs, systems, habit loops, traumas, all things like this merged, and to just layer on top of it a one-liner of, okay, let's just stop now, it removes the validity of everything underneath. And not just that, it removes the validity of bodily sensations and urges. So it's just very unlikely that someone would be able to actually get through that just by going cold turkey. And based on what I've heard, it's unlikely. Now, number 2 would be positive affirmations. Now, again, this isn't really something that I have come across in my preparing for counselling study. And it's not something that is likely to help, again, because of that same reason. Because of all these beliefs and habit loops, just uttering positive affirmations that we don't actually believe because we have underlying beliefs that make it not possible, perhaps from our childhood where we were told maybe we weren't good enough, and so that's our deep underlying belief. A positive affirmation layered over the top isn't going to be enough to shift the direction of everything that is a part of us and all those micro movements that occur when you are addicted to a substance, or in this case, pornography. Moving to, like, in every single movement of the day, you've got micro movements that involve the pornography addiction's, let's say, line of reasoning. So positive affirmations, again, I think they have their place, but just solely using those is unlikely to yield results. Now, next layer, number 3, is conscious habit reprogramming. So I do like this one. Again, I think it has its place. And what this involves is, for example, putting yourself in a situation consciously that you know, like, for example, if your pornography habit is mainly done in the bedroom, like most people, lying down in the bed, picking up your phone, starting to trigger that bodily movement and thought process movement. You'll notice you lie in bed, put the covers on, look at your phone, the mind will slowly take you in a direction because of all the micro movements, all your circumstances and up-to-date conditionings. The mind will move you towards wanting to watch pornography. And then in that moment, you can consciously, because what you're doing as overall is the conscious habit reprogramming, as soon as you start to feel that click of moving towards pornography, you break the habit. You get up, you jump in the cold shower, rinse yourself down, go back and repeat. Do that for 5 or 6 times a day, and you'll notice that that process actually leads us to moving away from, you wouldn't even need to take a cold shower a lot of the time. It'll move those thought loops, the habit loops, from just straight away picking up the phone, going into pornography mode, to having a different angle, a different pathway to travel down, potentially. Now, you may not travel down that pathway, but you'll notice that it's not the only option anymore. And the longer you do this, let's say you, like everything, consistency is key. If you do this for a month, for 30 minutes a day, every day for a month, you'll notice a big difference. And honestly, this is the first level where I would say by itself, it actually can help a decent percentage of people that are addicted if they were to stick with this and really put effort into it. Now, this was the next one that we'll go through is the Easy Peasy book. Now, this one is extremely popular in forums. Lots of people talk about it. It is a really fantastic resource. And again, if you are repeating the information over and over, like the conscious habit reprogramming, listening to why over and over again you are doing what you're doing, understanding why it's harming yourself and the people around you, and re-emphasizing that over and over again every single day can do a similar thing that we're doing with the body's movement in the conscious habit reprogramming to also aid the mind in the same thing. But what I find is that with the Easy Peasy method, once you finish the book, it can be seen as entertainment. Like a lot of videos and audio books and books like this, it can be seen more as entertainment than actually something that we dissolve into our mind and actually have a different pathway of movement from. Again, it's not something that should be thrown out. It deserves to be on this list, and it will actually get a percentage of people to shift onto that new path. But as far as making a massive difference to a majority, apologies, I got cut off there. No SD card in the camera. Okay, next on the list is meditation. Now, meditation is a fantastic way of understanding ourselves, but meditation alone will not actually get us there. But this is one thing that I would say is not extremely important, but would be very beneficial to incorporate from the get-go, no matter sort of where you're starting off. Because even sitting for 1 minute in a space of boredom when you're first starting, whilst very difficult, can really help you to understand and see the movements in the body, help you understand what the mind is actually saying. If you sit down and you hear from the mind, if you sit down just for a minute a day and the first thing that you hear from the mind is negative, you can understand, okay, you can then write that down and you can come back to it another time and journal on understanding, why do I have this negative thought? Where does that come from? And it's going to be a process. Depending on how old you are, if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, etc., onwards, you're going to have situations where you have built this massive web of moment-to-moment movements, moment-to-moment learnings, beliefs that you've acquired over time, some that you can't even remember, but you got as a child for whatever reason, and you're trying to drill down to understand. Even drilling into the first layer is very difficult. And just like the earth, the more you drill, the better quality tools you need and the more learnings that you have to have. So you almost have to start at that surface level and start journaling and start trying to understand yourself a little by little. And then as you go, you will increase your understanding and you'll realize, oh, actually, here I wasn't quite right. It was actually maybe more like this. And then you'll explore that and then you'll work your way down to the real depths. And meditation doesn't have to be sitting on a cushion, in a robe for an hour at a time. It can be just sitting in your chair, focused on trying to create a vacuum, or vacuum maybe not the best word, trying to create an empty sense in your reality. And through that empty sense, things will arise in the body, feelings, urges will arise in the body, and the mind will also be creating as you go. Um, so yeah, really, really good to incorporate a meditation habit. Like I say, think of meditation not necessarily as sit on a mat and grind out an hour session. Use it slowly. I've found that over time, my meditation habit has increased, but it's not something that I do religiously every single day. It's something that if I feel unsettled, then I might sit with myself for 10 or 15 minutes and see if I can spot it and see if there's anything that needs to be worked through. So it develops over time. Okay, next level. Porn Addicts Anonymous. Now, I will link them in the bio, in the piece below the video. And this is a really fantastic community for keeping yourself active in the thought process. And again, this can develop over time. When you first come to, they've got a WhatsApp group. So you can go to the WhatsApp group, there's 700 people. Some people check in daily. Some people will never check in. They'll just read messages so they can see that, okay, there are other people out there like me that are struggling with this as well. And, some with less of a struggle, some with more of a struggle. And I think it's important for us to have just that knowing that there are other people around us struggling. We're not alone in this struggle. And another thing you can do with Porn Addicts Anonymous is you can jump on one of their calls. You can speak about how you are feeling. You can speak about your struggles. You can hear other people speaking about their struggles. You don't necessarily have to speak. You will be given the opportunity if you want to a lot of the time. But what I would say is that generally there's no shortage of people that want to share, because sharing really does help. It really does give you that space and that sort of having someone there who doesn't judge, who understands what you've gone through, who understands what you're going through, really does help. And they have a great program. Many alcoholics have gone through a program. It's very similar. I personally chose to go a different way, but I know that there are people that go through this course and have great success. And that's why it is quite high on my list. And as we go, we'll see that the last few, I would say, are more targeted towards someone who wants to really stand out as a human to themselves. Not necessarily stand out in the world, but really become the best version of themselves. So let's go into the next. So build a life that makes pornography irrelevant. So this is quite high up on the list. However, even if you build a really amazing life, it doesn't necessarily equate to removing the addictive behavior, especially if you are building based on one aspect. For example, focus solely on finances, or focus solely on getting better with women, for example. Because if you are focused on building a rounded version and not just individual aspects of your life, what you will find is that it gives you a much better opportunity. And we'll talk about that further down, but I did just want to introduce that. But building a life that makes pornography irrelevant involves being busy doing things that matter to you. Again, I think that this is a really important step. And again, it can be created over time. It doesn't necessarily have to all happen at once. This certainly is something that can be created over time, and it doesn't just help with the pornography habit. It helps with all aspects of your life. Okay, next. And I want to, before I share this one, I just want to start with the fact that what I'm about to share is not something that you should rush into. And let's go into it. So it's psychedelics. Now, I do think psychedelics have their place. I personally would love to work with psychedelics and counseling someone alongside that process in the future. I don't want to go into my history with psychedelics right now, but maybe in later videos I will. But what I will say is that it can be extremely eye-opening what you can discover on psychedelics, whether that's understanding more about reality, which gives you a perspective of yourself that puts you less in the center. As far as when I say let you less in the center, I mean the mask that you wear, this web of the person that you are that's been created. It puts that less at the center, and you have an understanding that, okay, I am something bigger than this. Along with that, other psychedelics can also help you to explore that mask, to go deep and understand the web of who you are, understand why, for example, you do what you do. Maybe you had a situation when you were younger, you can't remember why, you've blanked it out, and going through something, for example, like MDMA therapy will help you to understand yourself better and help you to, once you understand something, it loses its power. And you can move forward knowing that, okay, I did, like, this habit, if you can work it all the way down to that, was done because of this reason, and this reason isn't something that was my fault, for example. And that can release you of everything all the way down the chain. So psychedelics certainly have their place, and they're high on the list because I believe they should be. And now we'll move to counseling and therapy. Now, I may be a little biased with this one, seeing as I'm on my way to studying counseling. But what this does is, when you're with a good quality counselor or therapist, what you will see is that just like you in a meditation who can sit, when you sit and hold space, the counselor can be that for you. Where it's very difficult for you to do that, the counselor doesn't, well, hopefully, as long as they've done some work themselves, won't be so drawn into what you have to say. They won't be affected by the things you have to say. So they can sit in a vacuum, they can hear what you say, and they can help you to understand what it is that you're putting out. And then in that sense, you then can progress faster, especially in the journaling, especially in understanding yourself, because they can see a clear picture. When I say that, you obviously need to, if you aren't getting a clear picture of yourself, if you aren't moving forward, you perhaps need to reassess the counselor that you've decided to go with. But a good quality counselor, like I say, will be able to hold space, they'll be able to drill down, and just like you were journaling by yourself and you were asking yourself questions, you were trying to understand yourself more, they will already have those questions for you. They'll already be able to guide you through a process to get down a layer. And then hopefully, the better they are, the more layers they'll be able to help you get down. And when you're incorporating everything else on the list, then you can start to make real rapid growth. And the final one, and what I myself have committed to, is a full journey of self-discovery. Now, the full journey of self-discovery involves observing those micro movements. It involves journaling. It involves understanding your habit loops. It involves understanding your traumas. It involves understanding all your circumstances and up-to-date conditioning to the best of your ability, and to commit to doing that for the time that you remain on this planet. And the more you know about yourself, doesn't matter how many layers deep you get, there's more and more and more. But what you will see at the same time, just like in the snowball effect where the snowball rolls down the mountain, while you are working on understanding yourself, getting layers and layers deep, that snowball is growing and growing and growing. And you as a person move more towards your version of the best version that you can offer the world and yourself. Now, this isn't an easy process. There's a reason why a lot of people don't take this path. It's one thing to focus on just getting over the addiction. And for that, I think in and around that Porn Addicts Anonymous level, maybe with a little bit of building a life that is, makes pornography irrelevant and a little bit of maybe psychedelics, a little bit of meditation, that can be very powerful for someone and make them very capable of overcoming the addiction. But if you want to guarantee it, commit yourself to a life. Make this a lifestyle where you work through your history. You understand yourself. You listen to people who can guide you. You search for information that helps you to become a better person. Maybe the Eckhart Tolles of the world, the Krishnamurtis of the world. Finding people like that, as well as focusing on other areas of your life, can really make a big impact in not only the pornography addiction, which that will definitely 100%, if you work hard enough and you work for long enough, nothing can be stopped. Nothing cannot be stopped by this process, because you're getting deeper and deeper, layers and layers down, understanding yourself, understanding reality, understanding people to the level that you understand yourself so well, it doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make sense to watch pornography. It doesn't make sense to put yourself down, to hide things from your partner, to hide things from friends, family, children, to be a role model that doesn't overcome something like this. When you work progressively hard over time, there's no chance that you will not be able to move past this. So they're the 10 layers. Obviously, you know where I would want to, you know where I would go and where I have been, and that's to commit to a life of self-discovery, full journey of self-discovery. Commit to that life, go through all the process, incorporate all the other things still, counselling, psychedelics, building an amazing life, Porn Addicts Anonymous for the support, meditation, getting information like the Easy Peasy book, other information like that. You can try conscious habit reprogram, try positive affirmations, but starting from that position of full journey of self-discovery, it just gives you a sense that there's no way pornography can outrun you. There's no way pornography can dominate your life forever. You're coming for it. And it's a switch in the mind. It's a shift to moving towards your best self. I live a life free of pornography now, and I want to share my journey with the world at some stage. I want to share the ways to get out of it, because I tried so many different ways and was able to come out of a life of being stuck in that. And I've built a life that I'm really happy with, a life that I would say is the best version of myself right now. So that's what I want for you. And yeah, check out the links in my bio. I do one-on-one coaching, and yeah, like, subscribe, and I wish you luck, my friends, on your journey through this life.